Welcome to my channel. It's called Lunasa. In this channel, we do a deep dive into the writings of Florence Scovel Shinn. In her book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, she dedicates a whole chapter to the concept of love. And in that chapter, at the very beginning, she states that we are all here on earth to take an initiation in love. And by this, she means that we pour ourselves out on the object of our affection without demanding anything in return. But there's no fear, there's no suffering. This kind of love, this kind of pouring out, this kind of generosity, it opens the world of the wondrous. It opens the fourth dimension. And we just spend our time here on earth just pouring ourselves out on the objects of our affection. It is a joy, and it's a joy in giving and given generously. Now, what happens when we do that is something that you're very familiar with. You'll know it as the law of attraction, because that pure, unselfish love where you just give and give generously above and beyond, you pour yourself out, that love draws to its own, that love draws to itself its own. So everything you put out there will come back to you. All that you are given and given generously, it draws to itself its own. Now, this is very similar to how Abraham Hicks describes the law of attraction. Abraham Hicks was one of the founders of the law of attraction, and they describe it like that onto which that which is like unto itself is drawn. It's a little tongue twister. That which is like unto itself is drawn. Florence does it better. Florence says pure unselfish love draws to itself its own. So this means there's no fighting, there's no stress, there's no worry. You will draw to yourself your own people, your own opportunities. You will draw to yourself the people who love you back, who cherish you back, who adore you back. You don't have to go out there and fight and make people like you. When you just keep pouring out the love, pouring out in generosity, you will attract to yourself your very own. And it's also a nod to the Bible, a little bit. There's a verse in it that says, when you are focused on the kingdom of God, which is where there is all the love and the beauty and the truth and just the wonderful things of life. When you focus on the kingdom of God, all these things will be added onto you. When you are immersed in love, when you are given generously, when you are pouring yourself out, filled in love, experiencing the world of the wondrous, wonderful things will be drawn to you. Wonderful things will be poured back out to you. Now, there's something to consider, which is that you can't be selfish. When you want to give, there'll be times when you don't want to give anymore, when you want to keep this to yourself or keep that to yourself, where you don't want to work today, where you don't want to work on this thing today, or where you just don't want to do it anymore. And you become very selfish. You think about what you're about. You think about what you value and what you want and what makes sense to you. But this is an invitation to give and to give generously, to show up every day and give, to show up every day in love, to show up every day and pour yourself out on the object of your affection. That's also important. We're not pouring ourselves out on every random thing, on the things that we hate, on the things that we don't like. It's the object of our affection, the object of our own adoration that we pour ourselves on, pour ourselves out on. And so this is why it's special. So you're not thinking of yourself. One example that comes to my mind are the people who say for the holiday season that they don't want to do any traditions, that they don't want to do anything special, that they don't want to bake the cakes, they don't want to bake the cookies, they don't want to decorate, they don't want to do any of that stuff. Why? Because they're tired. They just think about themselves and they're tired. What about their kids? What about their spouse? What about their family? What about their friends? They can throw a wonderful holiday party with everything sparkly and pretty and the music and just bring together wonderful holiday memories. but they don't want to do it. Why? Because they don't feel like it anymore. They just want to go do whatever they feel like it. And there are other examples like that. It's hard to be consistent. It's hard to give and give generously every day, to show up and just keep just pouring it out. You don't feel like it sometimes. You're tired of it sometimes. You get discouraged sometimes. It doesn't matter though. You show up every day and you pour out on it. You don't think of yourself. You become very selfless and you just pour it out on other people. And you do that, but there's a joy that you experience, the joy of giving, which is also very important. You don't do this and resent it. You don't do this in frustration. Remember, this kind of love opens the fourth dimension. This kind of love opens the world of the wondrous. When you give and give so generously, when you pour yourself out on the object of your adoration, you will feel a joy in the joy of the given, which is how Florence phrases it. So the people who do this aren't selfish. They don't think of themselves, they think of others, and they just pour it out. Every day they show up, every week they show up, every month they show up. They just keep pouring it out. And another thing to keep in mind, just to bring it out some more, is that there's no fear. There's no sense of suffering. There's no sense that you deplete yourself. Because first of all, you're pouring out yourself on your object of adoration, on your object of affection. You love this and you love doing this. You just keep pouring yourself out. Doing it leads to such amazing opportunities for you. You just truly enjoy it. You're working on things that you fall in love with. You're working on things that you are in love with. You're working on things that hold your affection, people who hold your affection. You just pour yourself out into that environment. And then you don't worry about fear or doubt or worry because you're experiencing such joy. You're experiencing the joy of giving, the joy of creating, the joy of moving things forward. You're experiencing the joy of the creativity, the joy of the manifestation, the joy of the movement, the joy of everything. You are just filled with joy, and you truly see what Florence means when she says that this kind of love ushers in the world of the wondrous and gives you access to that fourth dimension. Now, something that's very important to realize is that you are active. You are doing something. Sometimes people think when it comes to getting things in life that opportunities just pop into existence and you didn't do anything. But Florence is someone who is adamant that you do something. She actually says in one of her other books that I think it's the Your Word is Your Wand, that, yeah, she says that giving precedes receiving. So if you notice, all of this love, all of this giving, things have to come back because she is so certain that giving precedes receiving. So you're giving, you're working, you are putting things out there generously, you pour it out there. And that is the first mover. That is you being the first mover. That is you being active. And the results will just flow. Onto itself, things will be drawn. And so you are active and you are dynamic, you are moving, you're creating every single day. And that can only lead to results. It's not a case where just something just happens. You've set it in motion. But what matters here is that you're not caught up in what happens. You're not caught up in getting a particular result or a particular person or a particular opportunity. You are so open-minded about what can come back to you. You, like God, have the divine plan, the divine person, the divine opportunity, the divine right idea, and bring it into your life. So a lot of people can be focused on one person, doing all this work to get the attention of one person, doing all this work to get the attention of one opportunity. And you put all your eggs in that basket. But Florence says in this chapter and in the first chapter, don't do that. How does she put it? Which is that you send out real love and real love will return to you, either in this man or his equivalent. Because if this man is not your divine selection, you do not want him. As you are one with God, you are one with love, the love that belongs to you by divine right. And watch as God brings the right people and the right opportunities into your life. So you give and give generously. You pour yourself out on the object of your affection, and then you watch as the divine selection comes into your life. It could be different opportunities than you thought of, different people than you thought of, but they will come. You're just open minded. You're just open to what's going to come into your life. Florence tells this kind of story all the time. You don't get stuck on AB. Like, there is this woman who was fascinated and fixated on this man called AB. And she just wanted him. So she went to Florence and said, make AB like fall in love with her. And Florence said, no, I'm going to speak the word that you will get your divine love, your divine selection. And if it is AB, fantastic. If it's someone else, fantastic. We want you to get the divine selection. And so when you're pouring everything out and you're not getting things in return, or you're pouring everything out and nothing's happening, just wait. God's working, and the things will start to happen. And you may want a certain person or a certain opportunity, but truly be open minded about what is coming back into your life. And Florence calls God the divine intelligence. Florence calls God infinite intelligence, rather. And so if you're putting all of this work out there, if you are pouring on your love in a selfless way, free from fear, you are just pouring it out on the object of your affection in a way that it's joyful and given. Leave the divine intelligence, the infinite intelligence, to figure out how to bring things into your life, how to bring people into your life, opportunity into your life. Be open minded. Don't be fixated on one thing. Be open to the divine selection. Now, this is just an extraordinary way that Florence opened her chapter on the concept of love. Like, if you want to know why are we here on earth, Florence establishes we are here to take our initiation in love. We are here to love. We are here to love and to love well. And it's about being selfless and free from fear and just pouring ourselves out into the things that we love and just fall in love with life and experience that joy and just watch as all that we have given we start to receive, because that love to itself, that love draws to itself its own. I do deep dives into the writings of Florence Scovel Shinn. It's quite fun for me. It's quite interesting. And that's what you'll find on this channel. Every video is just about this. So if you're new to Florence, my videos can introduce you to her ideas. And if you have read Florence before, they can remind you of her ideas. And together we can create a community where we just study Florence and do a deep dive. If you don't know, was actually a metaphysical teacher, a New Thought teacher who worked 100 years ago. Her ideas are powerful, her ideas are innovative, her ideas are fascinating, and they still work, and they're still valuable, and they still deserve to be studied to this day. And so it's quite fun to put together all these videos for you. So if you like that, please subscribe. If you have a comment for me, please leave a comment. I do see all of them and I really do reply. It's great fun to chat with you. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know that this video actually mattered to you. And when I think of videos to put together, I'll keep that in mind. So as I always say, and I truly mean it, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.